February TBR.
Yes! Oh, I'm so excited.
One girl does not need this many books. Perfection. Perfection. Wall of Fame.
It was my favorite book of 2024.
These are all the books that I read. Yeah, I may need some time to process that. God, I love this book. I cannot wait to do a reread. Hi guys, Hannah here. Welcome to my video and to my channel, and welcome to February. Today we're kind of doing like the ultimate bookish vlog. Feels like a kind of clickbaity title, but I promise I am just doing so much bookish stuff that I thought I'd bring you along for. I want to take you through my January Wrapped and my February TBR, my 2025 TBR. I've got some library books to pick up. I've got some book mail coming in, so there's a lot happening, and I thought I would bring you along for it. But first of all, a little check-in. How's 2025 treating you? Let me know in the comments down below. It's been a lot for me so far. It's been it's been high intensity. If you don't know, I'm heading back to uni this year, and the amount of prep work that is going into that right now, oh my god. I haven't even started uni yet and it's already very intense. Fortunately, even with all that going on, I still had plenty of time to read. So these are, I promise I didn't script that to be all quirky and whatnot. I'm actually very disappointed that my books are going to have dents in them now. Okay, take two. These are all the books that I read in 2025. I will say I'm very much heading into my fantasy era. I've always loved fantasy, but I was very much in my contemporary romance era for a little bit there, but I'm kind of getting bored of that, if I'm honest. So I read two series in January, a duology and a trilogy, both of which I loved. So the first books that I read in 2025 in January was the Shepherd King duology. This was my first ever gothic fantasy, and I absolutely loved it. I really hope I can read some more gothic fantasy, because if they're all like this, I think I'll be having a great time. It is young adult, so it wasn't too like confronting or anything, but it was definitely a little spooky. I feel like this would be a perfect Halloween read. Maybe I'll do a reread in October. It follows this girl called Elspeth who is like, she's got this like monster living in her brain. She's not like possessed, but she's got a little extra neighbor up there. And this monster in her head is called Nightmare, and it's part of this like magic illness that's traveling through this kingdom. So she's got to like keep it hidden, and then she gets like roped into this deal where she's helping these people who want to like cure the illness. High intensity, little sprinkle of romance, nothing too spicy. I loved the way this was written. It definitely gives that like older fairy tale kind of vibe, but yeah, so good. And then the sequel, it kind of changes up in the sequel. It goes to multiple POV, and I didn't think I would love it at first, but I absolutely loved it. The stakes got so much higher. There was, again, more romance, but different romance. The banter in this book with the Nightmare and the other characters, it was just, I loved it, so good. And I was sobbing like a baby at the end of this. Honestly, both of these books had amazing endings. The end of the first book, I was like gasping, like so shocked, and like it was just like so crazy. So much happened all at once, and I was like, it was intense. And then the second book, again, it really ramped up at the end, but I was sobbing. I did not expect to be so connected to the characters, and like, oh, that ending, so good. Obviously no spoilers, but yeah, highly recommend. Really easy to breeze through, just a little duology. Again, YA, so nothing too challenging, and spooky but not scary. So the first book was a 4-star, probably a 4.5, but I rated it on Goodreads, so it only has full stars. I'm gonna say this is a 4.5, and then the second book was a 5-star for me, and I'm gonna say a 5-star duology. Just So good. Then next up, I did dabble back into my contemporary romance books. This is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is technically the second book in the When in Rome series. I haven't read When in Rome, but you didn't really need to. It's kind of those interconnected standalone kind of books where you don't have to read the other ones. I could tell there are things that would have like connected more if I had read When in Rome, but you definitely don't need to. This is really just a fluffy little book about a bodyguard and a florist, and it's kind of got some stuff about the female main character coming into herself, being able to connect with her like true identity and not what other people expect from her. Honestly, if I try to recall a single scene from this book, I cannot. I do not remember. No, hang on. No, I do remember. It's got some cute small town dynamics, some very good community found family kind of vibes. Honestly, looking back on it, did I have a good time? Yes. Let's see, what did I rate it? I rated this one 4 stars, so a really good time, really enjoyed it. Was it super memorable? Was I thinking about it a lot afterwards? No. But I did enjoy it while I read it. Again, I think this is YA as well. I actually think this was an entirely YA month for me. I don't think this had any spice. I don't think. If I'm being perfectly honest, I used to be such a spice reader, and now it kind of bores me, if I'm perfectly honest. So I did enjoy the dynamics of this book. Very enjoyable. If you're looking for a contemporary romance, would recommend. I don't think I will ever be able to express how much this series means to me. I finally read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I read Caraval last year. Caraval? I read Caraval last year and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't 5 stars for me, but I did have a really good time. I knew though, from everything I had heard about the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, I knew that I would love it. So I finally got around to it and I'm so glad. I actually cannot wait to do a reread of these books. I fell into the worst book hangover I have ever had after I finished these books. I was like, I'm sorry, I have to go back to reading anything else now after I've just experienced this? You're joking. You're joking. It is a romantasy. It is a bit of a fairy tale vibe. I love the way the female main character is such a soft, kind soul. There is such a place for strong, empowered, badass female main characters in books, but it's actually really nice to just read about a soft little girly pup. She's just a girl, you know? And that's not to say she doesn't have her own power. She has so much power in her own way, in her own right. It's in the same universe as Caraval. It follows this girl Evangeline who she is in love with this guy, and then he is gonna get married to her sister and sister-in-law? Hang on. No, not sister-in-law. Stepsister. And so she makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, Jax, who we meet in Caraval in books 2 and 3, and I loved him in those books. I loved him in these books. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. So she makes a deal and then shenanigans ensue. She ends up just caught in this magical world of deals and bargains, and there's vampires, there's myths, there's all this incredible stuff, curses, spells. You should have heard the way I was basically screaming at my book in the end of the second book, Ballad of Never After. I needed approximately 5 business days to recover from this ending. Did I give myself 5 business days? No, because I finished Ballad of Never After within a day and then immediately picked up Curse of True Love and finished that within a day as well. So I think I read all of these over like 4 or 5 days in total. I pretty much finished them over a long weekend, so I have not been sucked into a book series the way I did with these in such a long time. And also, can we just appreciate the covers? Like, if the story itself wasn't going to drag me in, these covers definitely would. I am obsessed. I'm so excited. I'm moving apartments in a month, actually, pretty much today. No, less than a month. Oh my god. I'm moving apartments in less than a month and I'm gonna get some bookshelves and I'm so excited to give these a spot of honor and display them because first of all, they are my favorite book series ever. And yes, I am making that call. These are my favorite books I have ever read. And I am so excited to display them on my bookshelf because they are also just stunning. Props to Stephanie Garber for writing amazing books and props to the cover artists for making beautiful books as well. These were obviously all 5 stars, 5-star series, 6 stars, honestly. Perfection. Perfection, Wall of Fame. So those were technically all the books that I read and finished in January, but I do kind of want to include another one. I also read Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I want to include this in my January Wrapped because I technically finished this in February. It's the 1st of February today as I'm filming. I read the last 30 pages of this when I woke up this morning. So I technically finished it this morning, but I only read 30 pages out of like 450 or something. So I feel like I read most of this book in January. I feel like it belongs on my January Wrapped. This is a billionaire, small town, contemporary romance. And look, I was really excited to read my first ever Elsie Silver book. I don't think this was the one I should have started with. I did not enjoy this. This was a 2-star read for me. I started really optimistic again because I was excited to read some Elsie Silver, but honestly, I think the dynamics of these characters just did not resonate for me. They were just really childish. There was property destruction, which I was supposed to find funny and flirtatious, but I just found infuriating. I've never been able to enjoy that sort of thing or like pranks or any of that. Maybe I take life a little too seriously, but none of this really sat well with me. They're just kind of mean to each other. I don't know. And then he like makes these grand, stupid money decisions because he's rich and he can afford it. And she's like, oh my God, it's so romantic. I don't know. I feel like if my man did what this guy did, I'd be like, are you dumb? Like, that's such a stupid waste of money. I don't care that you're a billionaire. Be smart. Or at least donate your money instead of having a massive ego. Yeah, this just did not sit right for me. I did enjoy Cora's storyline. So Ford, the male main character, donated when he was younger, and then his daughter finds him, his daughter, from his donation. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So this child, Cora, finds Ford and is like, I'm your daughter. And he's like, what? And then he's a really good dad. So props to him for that. He does his best. He learns a lot. That was a really nice storyline. Loved Cora, which is interesting because I don't usually enjoy children in books. Also, I will say the spice I straight up skipped over. There were like, they'd start going at it and I'd immediately start skimming. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see that. I don't ship them. So I didn't enjoy the spice. I probably am going to try another Elsie Silver book down the line because I do think this is an outlier. I don't know. I want to give her another go because I've heard such incredible things about Elsie Silver. People really love her. I do also think whatever book I read after finishing the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, it was gonna struggle. It was gonna have a hard time being as good and matching up to that trilogy because I just loved it so much. So this book had a rough go at it and it did not come up on top. But that's fine because it's a library book, so I'm just going to return it and then I never have to think about it again. All right, and those are all the books I read in January. Speaking of libraries, I have got some books to pick up at the library today, and I've also got some book mail to pick up, which I'm very excited for. So let's go do that. While I'm out, there's actually going to be an inspection coming through my apartment of like prospective tenants to move in after I've moved out. So I'm going to take this opportunity to pick up my books, pick up my book mail, get out of the house so I'm not just awkwardly sitting here while they're looking at my stuff. It's so awkward. So I'm going to go stash all my valuables and we'll go pick up some books together. Quick little fit check before I leave. The skirt is from Ali, top is from Valley Girl, shoes from Puma, headband from Kmart, and bag from Showpo show bag back in like 2018 15, 14? I don't know. A long time ago. Anyway, let's go to the library. This just in, pedestrian crossings are optional and road rules do not exist. I was not aware of this, so just in case you didn't know, we're not following road rules anymore. I picked up my library books. I have got a novel love story by Ashley Poston. This just sounds like such a good time. A woman is transported into the world of her favorite romance book or something like that. A woman is transported into a fictional world. It just sounds so good. Also, I've heard really good things about Ashley Poston, so this will be my first Ashley Poston. And then I've got The Girl in Question by Tess Sharp. I read The Girls I've Been as part of my book club last year, and so I've been really wanting to read the sequel because I want to know what happens next. It was just such an intriguing, like, thriller. So I'm excited to see what happens next in, oh, what's her name? Oh, I think that's kind of a whole thing, is that she's got so many names. Nora. I'm excited to see what happens next in Nora's story. I also want to know what happens with her friends, because I remember really loving the whole dynamic of her friend group. So let's see what happens. And then I've got the first book in the Shatter Me series. I feel like so many people talk about these books. I think this is another YA fantasy series. I've heard so many people talk about it, but I actually can't remember what this is about. So no one knows why Juliet's touch is fatal, but the re-establishment has plans for her, plans to use her as a weapon. It sounds so very, like, in the same vein as like Hunger Games, Divergent, all of that. It seems very much that kind of book, which I am all about, so very excited. Have I just signed myself up to read yet another series? Yes. Someday I'm gonna do a finishing series that I've started vlog, because I have so many series I've started or that I want to read, and so this will just be another one on the list, honestly. But I'm excited. I think it'll be really good. Shout out Brisbane Libraries. Honestly, you get to read all this for free? You're joking. You're joking! And then I also got an Amazon package. I'm gonna open this when I'm back home, but the inspection I think is still happening at home. So, oh, should I open it now? Should I open it now? Maybe I will open it now. You know what? Screw it, I'm gonna open it now. Ah, I'm so excited. Does anyone else worry when they're opening packages with their keys that it's gonna, like, destroy the key? It does concern me, but I don't have anything else to open this with right now. Oh, I think I just locked my car. Yes! Oh, I'm so excited. Hang on, let me put the aircon back on, because it is too hot to be sitting here without the aircon running. Oh my gosh! The first book I got is Lightlark. I am so excited. Hang on, is this a slightly different size? Oh, why is the size of this book so weird? It's like slightly bigger, but this is, again, another fantasy series. Is it YA? I don't know. But it says, every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates everything. Ah, how good does that sound? Oh, I'm so excited for this. Second book I got is a special edition Archer's Voice. It's got the orange sprayed edges. I really wanted this one because it's got little, like, notes from the author on the side. Mia Sheridan, she's got, like, all these, oh, I'm so excited. All these, like, notes in the margins of, like, thoughts that she had while she was writing the book. Did I need a second copy? No, but given that this, okay, Archer's Voice was my favorite book of 2024. It was the first book in a very long time to keep me up at night. I just wanted to keep reading. I was so hooked and, like, soaked into it. It's just really, really special to me. It was the first romance book that I was able to really get soaked into after I had my heart broken as well, because I was reading other books but I was just kind of struggling through them, but this one really really did it for me. Look at that foiling. Do I love the orange? No, I think the orange is kind of ugly, but I am very excited because I do want to reread Archer's Voice. If you haven't read Archer's Voice, I do highly recommend. I feel like it's one of those books that everyone needs to read when they're embarking on their reading journey. It is a rite of passage. You do need to read Archer's Voice. And then lucky last in my little haul, I got a book light because I hate having the big light on at nighttime. I hate having the big light on. It's not a very uncommon feeling. My bedside lamp is not really bright enough to read at night without like straining. I hadn't even considered until recently that I should get a book light because I can solve so many of my problems. So I found this one on Amazon. It's got great reviews. It's just this little white clip-on. You can like swivel that head around. There's like a yellow light, there's a neutral and a cool. It's such a basic little thing, but I am excited to have a book light so that I don't have to have the big light on when I'm reading and I'm not going to be straining my eyes. That is a slate, and I think it is perfect timing for me to head back home because the inspection should be done. It is 11:21 now. It'll take me about 10 minutes to get home. The inspection was supposed to start at 11:10. Surely they will be gone by the time I get home. Or should I call into Big W? No, I don't need any more books. No, Hannah, no more hauls today. No, I'm not gonna do it. Let's go. I did take some detours. I got myself a toothbrush from Chemist Warehouse. I also picked up another parcel. Promise I don't usually have this much mail in 1 week. This is just my shampoo and conditioner. So now it's time to put my books on my TBR cart. I guess the question is, do I put Archer's Voice on the TBR cart? I just reread a little bit of that and God, I love this book. I cannot wait to do a reread. It's so hard having so many books that you want to read and then also wanting to go back and do rereads of books that you've already read. There's just so many books and not enough time. All right, besties, I would like to introduce you to my TBR cart. She is a thing of beauty. She is also very full. Now, I know what you're thinking. One girl does not need this many books, and you would be correct. I would like to point out, however, that a lot of these books I actually got for free. My sister-in-law, shout out, she's a big reader. She's actually got a bookstagram. I'll pop it here, go follow her. She was doing a massive unhaul of a bunch of books, and I got like over 30 books for free. Some of them are still in Sydney and they'll be moving up soon when I move apartments. So a bunch of these were free. Most of them are thrifted. Hang on, I'm actually going to count how many of these are secondhand. So including from my sister-in-law and including from like thrift stores. Let me count real quick. 50, dang, 50 of these books are secondhand, and a lot of those were from my sister-in-law. Also, it just started raining. I just have to point that out. The vibes are immaculate. There is also a library book up here, so I guess I'll add that to my little pile of library books that I've got here. I do like to keep my library books separate so then I know like they're kind of higher priority because I've got to read them before I send them back. A lot of books that I read from the library, I actually have to be on the hold list for like months before I can get my hands on it because they're very in-demand books. Like Magnolia Parks, I think I was on the hold list for, oh, I don't even know how long. Months, as I said. Lightlark, I'm gonna put down here because I've got a bunch of fantasy books down on this side. So I'll pop Lightlark there. And then Archer's Voice. Does Archer's Voice go on the TBR cart? You know, no, I think I'm actually gonna keep this separate. I think I'm gonna put it where I've got all my red books because I don't think I'm gonna get to this before I move apartments. So I'll just keep it safe until then. So now I'm gonna go through my priority books for 2025. I wanted to do the whole like 25 books in 2025 thing that a lot of people do. I thought that's really cute, but I don't think I can commit to 25 books. That feels like a lot. Last year I read 40 books. I don't know how many books I'm gonna read this year because I'm going back to uni, so I don't know if I'll have like as much time to read. Yeah, I don't wanna overcommit and then not be able to read the books that I want to read. I'm such a mood reader, so if I overcommit to reading books that I'm then not looking forward to as much, or I feel like I don't have time to finish, it's just gonna kind of bog me down. So I haven't picked 25. I think I ended up with 17, which is a lucky number of mine, so it works out. And I've already read some of these, so I'm just gonna take you through my priority books for 2025. The first on the list is A Court of Silver Flames. I've read the first 4 books in the ACOTAR series and I loved them. I read them actually at the end of 2023, but it's just been such a long time. I think I just wasn't ready for Nesta's story at the time, so I'm keen to jump back into it because ACOTAR was kind of my like springboard to jump back into reading. Next on the list is Iron Flame. You may notice, I have pretty much almost finished this book. I read a lot of this while I was in Sydney last year, and I think I've got like 120 pages left. So I've not got a whole heap left. I've just been reading it for so long that I really need to get back into it. I, like a lot of people, think this book just needed some editing, but I want to finish it so that I can read Onyx Storm, which is also on my list of books to read in 2025. I want to give the series another chance because I think honestly me being partway through the book for so long has more to do with my personal life than the book itself. So next on the list is Powerless. I am so excited to read this. I actually think I'm going to jump into this pretty soon. It's just screaming to me, YA romantasy. What is not to love? I did buy the collector's edition, special edition. Honestly, I don't know what the difference is of this book because it was only like 30 bucks at Big W, and it's got the reversible dust jacket art, and look at how beautiful the hardcover is with the foil. So beautiful. A lot of readers that have similar taste to me have enjoyed it, and it was one of those ones that when I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart, this was recommended by Goodreads to read next. Like, people who enjoyed Once Upon a Broken Heart enjoyed this, so fingers crossed. I have also just seen that the special edition of Reckless, the second book, has now come out, so I could get the matching books. Then I want to read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is kind of an embarrassing thing to admit here. I have the second book, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, because it was on sale at Target, and I thought, oh amazing, that's on sale. I wanted to read this series. I'll buy this one because it was like $8, and then I'll get the first one. Turns out the first one is not sold in the trade paperback size anymore. Just so annoying. I hate when that happens. So I've got the first book on hold at the library, and I'm keeping an eye out on Facebook Marketplace for the trade paperback size first book in the series, because I know I could buy the smaller paperback, but I want to have them matching, you know? And the third book is about to come out. I have seen it in a few stores, and that's in the trade paperback as well. So, and also there is the whole thing of I haven't even read the first book yet. Why did I buy the second book without knowing that I like the series? But again, same thing as Powerless. I feel like it's just really my vibe, and it'll be very unlikely that I won't like it. It's like an academic fairy, enemies to lovers, I think. It just seems really good. I don't know. So yeah, on my priority list is the first book, and then maybe I'll read the second book. I actually can't believe I bought the second without reading the first. That was very much an impulse decision, and I try not to make those anymore. Next one, I don't have a physical copy of this, but I really want to read Throne of Glass and the whole Throne of Glass series. This is one of the reasons why I didn't want to have too many books on this list, because I want to try the Throne of Glass series. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but if I do like it, then that's, what, how many books are in the series? There's like 10, 8? I don't know. There's a lot of books in that series, and like chunky books, so that could take up a lot of my reading space if I do love that series as much as I think I will. The next is Rebel Witch, which is another new release coming out soon. It's the second book in the Crimson Moth series. Loved the first book so much. It's actually in the box that the camera is on, so I'm not gonna reach in there and grab it, but I really loved that book. Again, YA fantasy. Are we sensing a theme here? And next on the list, Light Lilac. So many people talk about this book. They just really seem to love it. I think there are 3 books. I don't know if the series is now finished or if it's gonna keep going. How many books are in the series? I've got no idea. Sounds very up my alley YA romantasy. Then after that, this is one that I don't have a physical copy of, is Quicksilver. People are obsessed with this book. This is an adult fantasy, so it's got a little bit of spice in it. I feel like I've seen so many like quotes from the book come up on my Instagram. It just looks so good. So very excited to read that. It's sold out like everywhere, so fingers crossed I can get my hands on it. Next is Spark of the Everflame. Again, pretty sure this is a YA fantasy. Can you tell there is a lot of fantasy on this list? This list is very skewed by my current taste, probably. These are all books that I've been wanting to read for ages, but I've just been putting off for whatever reason. I think maybe I've been a bit intimidated by fantasy. I've been reading a lot of contemporary romance because they're usually standalones and you don't have to really like commit to them. I'm ready to dig my teeth into some series, and my battery is about to die, so please excuse me for a moment. And we're back. Please ignore the framing change. Next up, we're stepping away from the fantasy genre and we have got Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. I've heard really good things about Fredrik Backman's writing. It's about a bunch of people who are in a heist situation. Sounds fascinating to me, and I've heard great things about Fredrik Backman, so would love to read it. I actually found this at Brisbane Book Fest the other day, which I'm stoked about. I got it for $6. So good. Then I want to read Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the new Hunger Games book coming out this year. It should be Haymitch's story, which will be fascinating. Do we need it? No. Did anyone really ask for it? I don't think so. It's like 100% a cash grab. Am I gonna eat it up anyway? Yes, you bet you booty I am. Then next on the list we have got The Girl in Question, which I picked up from the library today. I would have shown you earlier. YA thriller. We left on a bit of a cliffhanger with the last book, and yeah, I'm just really excited to see what happens next in her story. Then we've got Magnolia Parks, again in my little library stack. This seems to be a pretty divisive book. People either really love it or it just doesn't sit right with them. The characters are super flawed from what I've heard, which I don't know if I'll be able to handle that with like recent traumas that I've had, but it's basically, from my understanding, about this dysfunctional relationship between Magnolia and BJ. Basically Gossip Girl, but in London. I don't know. I'm excited. There's a lot of hype around this book, so I'm excited to find out what all that is about. Then we have got a novel love story, again in my library pile. Wabam! Again, I told you about this a little bit earlier. Girl ends up in a fictional world from her favorite book, and romance ensues, I think. Again, I've heard really good things about Ashley Poston, so I'm excited. And then I did have 3 more on the list that I have already finished. Can you guess what they are? It is A Curse for True Love, The Ballad of Never After, and Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I talked about at length earlier. So that's my priority list. Again, it's not like a 25 books for 2025, but that's kind of the vibe I was going for. I just couldn't commit to the full 25 books, so this is what we've got instead. So with that being said, I now want to pull out some books for my February TBR. I'm gonna pull some from my cart. We'll do some library books, of course. I've got 2 in mind already that I want to pull out straight away. First of all, I'm gonna grab Iron Flame. I am gonna get through this last 120 pages if it's the last thing I do. I'm so determined. So I also think hopefully that should be a fairly quick read, so I can tick that off. That'll be very satisfying. And then next up, I want to read Powerless. I'm so excited to read this book. It's been on my TBR for so long. I'm so hyped about it. Then next after that, Circe by Madeline Miller. Circe? I think it's Circe. This is actually my book club's book for this month. We've got our meeting next week actually, so I need to read this. I've heard really good things about Song of Achilles. I feel like I haven't heard as much about Circe, but I'm excited because obviously she's a great writer. I'm gonna put The Girl in Question. I need the conclusion to this story. I assume this is the... Oh, it just says sequel. It doesn't say finale on the back. Does that mean there's a 3rd book coming? Oh, is this not gonna be the conclusion that I thought it would be? I'm scared. Anyway, I'm gonna read this month. I should absolutely fly through this. I flew through the 1st book, so I'm pretty optimistic about that. I feel like I am gonna have a pretty busy month with moving and starting uni. and all of that. So how many books I want to commit to, I'm not sure. I think maybe one more book. Let's take it to 5 books, because really this is like not a full book. Right, that's my logic. I think I'm gonna go for Magnolia Parks because this is due back at the library the soonest. I don't know if I'm gonna be in the mood for this. It's not calling to me, but I've been on the hold list for so long. This is really hard, guys. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see how we go. I'm kind of nervous. I am concerned that I'm gonna have the same problem with this as I had with Wild Love, in that I'm not really like in the zone for contemporary romance, but let's see how we go, because if not, I've just got to return it to the library anyway. So if I get like 20 pages in and I'm really not feeling it, no harm, no foul. This is my February TBR. We've got some real good choices on here. I kind of want to make a TBR jar, if I'm honest. It just sounds so fun, but also I don't love that if I have a TBR jar, I can't just like pick what I'm feeling. I don't know, it kind of worries me as a mood reader. So now we've been through my TBRs. The question is, which one of these books do I attack first? I think it's gonna be between Iron Flame and Circe, because I've got to read this one for book club soon, and I'm really close to finishing this one, so which one am I gonna read first? All right, let's do it. I'm gonna do Iron Flame. Let's knock it out. I'm so excited. I really hope that in jumping back into this, I remember everything that's going on. I have watched a recap of Fourth Wing, but I didn't want to watch a recap of Iron Flame because I didn't want to accidentally spoil things for myself, so we're just gonna try our best. And then I'll watch a full recap of both before I read Onyx Storm, but honestly, who knows how long it'll be until I pick that up. Oh, I've got pins and needles. Oh, this angle sucks, but the February TBR gets its little place of honor on my TV unit.
Every minute slipping by, even when I close my eyes, ruthless I know.
You're joking, you're joking.
You might even wonder why I go MIA sometimes. I can't deny. Try to hold on.
So stressed. We're in the final battle, I assume, and things are going too well. And that really worries me. Because you know what that means, right? When things are going well, it means they're very quickly going to not go well, and it's gonna hit the fan, and I'm so concerned.
If I spend all my days searching for gold, I would be running out of time to see all your beauty and beyond. So instead I'll sing this song. Time and time again I'll go back to my reality. Foolish I know, but you always keep a figment of my mind, guiding me back ashore in my darkest days. Try to hold on.
Okay, I fear I may need some time to process that. What an ending. Oh my gosh. The last 100 pages of this book popped off. Oh my god. I feel like this is going to be a really difficult book for me to rate because the last 100 pages were maybe a 5-star. But it also took me like a year to read the book because the front half was so boring. I don't even really know what to say. I love a good battle. What can I say? I'm so glad that I read the last bit of that book when I had time to just sit down and binge it, because can you imagine if I'd tried to read this on public transport on my way to work and then I had to stop in the middle of the battle? Like, no. I'm so glad that I just sat down and binged the last little bit of that, because wow. I almost cried. I thought something was gonna happen and then it didn't. I would have been very upset if that thing did happen, but the character I was worried about is fine. I'm very intrigued to know what happens next in Onyx Storm, so I just need to get my hands on it. And I don't know when I'll get around to it. I don't think Onyx Storm is quite as long as Iron Flame. This is 623 pages, and they're very like long pages. Usually I can read about a page a minute, but I feel like it took at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes to read one of these pages, just because the text is really small. So it took me a lot longer than usual to read the 623 pages. What an absolute monster of a book.
Good morning, guys. Plot twist. I just finished up yoga and I was not at all planning to buy any books today because I got a bunch of books yesterday. But I went all night and all of that yoga class thinking about Onyx Storm. So I'm gonna go buy it. I'm gonna go to Target. I'm gonna see if they have it. Fingers crossed they do. I'm only gonna go to the one shop, and if they don't have it, then it's a sign that I've got to wait a little bit longer because I do have so many books on my TBR. The moral of the story is that I have no self-control, and somehow a book that took me a year to read because a lot of it was very boring somehow hooked me enough in the last 150 pages to make me immediately want to buy the next installment in the series. Someone explain that, because I don't quite understand.
I'm not screwing up my collection like that.
I am so disappointed. That was such a bust. They had it, but they only had it in the hardcover edition, and I already own the first 2 books in the trade paperback, so I want to have the matching set because I know that they don't line up on the bookshelf if you get the hardcover. So I think I'm going to take that as a sign. I'm going to order it online from Big W, and I've got a few books that I want to get from Big W. So I'm going to do an order. I'm going to focus on the books I've got on my TBR right now. I'll probably read it like next month or something. But you have no idea how tempted I was to just pick up another random book that I wanted, just so that I didn't leave empty-handed. I'm trying to be really good about that because I've gone shopping for books a few times recently where I've been looking for a specific book and then the shop I'm looking in doesn't have that, and then I just end up kind of walking around like a lost puppy for like half an hour, and I just end up wasting so much time, and I always leave so frustrated with myself for wasting that time. So I wasn't gonna dig through and find something that I wanted to buy. I knew they didn't have the trade paperback Onyx Storm, so I'm out. I gotta run some errands, pick up my groceries, do some meal prep, all that. And then I'm gonna sit down and read Circe. I started reading Circe last night with my booklight. Both great so far. The booklight is perfect. Circe, I really struggled with the like the language. You know what? I'll tell you more about all of this once I get home and I've got my proper camera. But moral of the story, I couldn't find Onyx Storm, so I'm going to order it online so that I stop wasting my time. I have been sat waiting to get my click and collect Coles grocery order for half an hour, watching like 15 people, okay, maybe like 10, get their order before me. I'm so frustrated and I'm so confused. And I'm so annoyed because I don't have my book with me, so I can't even really do anything while I'm sat here. I'm just wasting time, and I need to go to the bathroom.
I am finally home. I feel like so much of the morning is gone, but it's time to lock in. I started Circe last night. I am 12 pages in, so I've just got a little taste for it. I haven't really dived into much of it yet. I really struggled at first because of the writing style. It's like a Greek mythology story, and it is kind of written like mythology, like it's a little bit I don't know if old-timey is the right way to put it, but yeah, the writing style is not something that I'm used to, so it did take a bit of adjustment, but I think it's gonna be really effective. I feel like it's gonna be very transportative. Right? I'm sure that's not the word I'm going for. I feel like, but I just feel like it's gonna transport me somewhere. Yeah, so far so good, but I'm only 12 pages in. We're gonna lock in, we're gonna get some more of that read. I have got my box of grapes, I have got my headphones. I'm gonna pick a nice little reading playlist and we're gonna dive in. chapter 8 of Circe, page 79. I actually, because I was struggling with the writing style and like staying focused on it, it was a bit harder for me to focus on. I found an audiobook. I couldn't find an audiobook on Libby for my library, so I actually just found one on YouTube, which has really been helping. So shout out to audiobooks. I feel like I have no idea where this book is going. Like, I feel like usually you can kind of tell like what the main storyline will be, like if there's like a bad guy or if there's like a problem that needs to be solved. But Circe is just kind of living, and I don't know if there's going to be a greater conflict. I kind of hope there is a greater conflict, but right now, like, there's things happening. Maybe it's because of the mythology aspect, like it just doesn't feel like there's any pressing situations. I don't know, but I think it has a whole bunch of potential. I just hope it picks up. All right, guys, I am going to end this video here so that I can get to editing and get it up for you as soon as possible. But I really hope you enjoyed. Thanks for coming with me on my little bookish adventures this weekend. I had a great time. I love books, so thank you for sharing these experiences with me. I hope you are having a wonderful day. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. Comment down below any like requests you might have for bookish content. I love making it, so let me know what you want to see, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.